All right, what's up, boxing fans? It's Aztec 101. This is a post-fight video. It's my review for Gervonta Davis versus Frank Martin. I'm going to go over David Benavidez versus Vosdick, and then I'm also going to go over a couple fights that I felt stood out. I'm not going to go over the whole card, but I'll start off with Elijah Garcia versus Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis looked like the best fighter in the world against Elijah Garcia. I mean, he was countering, he was sharp, he was comfortable on the ropes. Gervonta Davis looked like he just couldn't miss. And Elijah Garcia was a walking punching bag with a Beso Pluma haircut. That's it. He missed weight. He looked terrible. I think that he could learn from this, and he needs to either get into a division where you know you're going to make weight, or become more disciplined. I don't know what the reason was, and it's at the end of the day, it's considered unprofessional across the board. Gervonta Davis looked great. Congratulations, he won. Gary Antoine Russell versus Alberto Puello. Now, this was a good fight, and I wish I would have done a prediction video on this one. I would have gotten this one wrong as well. I thought Russell would have won by, pretty much fighting on the inside, making it difficult, making it rough, eventually hurting Puello, and I thought this would have been a good boxing match, but I didn't think that Puello was going to pick him apart like the way he did. I mean, Puello looked like he figured out Russell to the T. He was getting out of the way when he needed to and landing his shots. He was landing his shots in between Russell's shots. He was tagging him up with the jab. I mean, Puello, amazing job. He did an amazing job. Congratulations to Puello. And then as far as Gary Antoine Russell, this is actually best case scenario in a version for your first loss, right? The main event will show you what worst case scenario looks like. All right, so Gary Antoine Russell can go back, learn from this, and then become a better fighter. I don't think this is that bad of a loss. Puello is an excellent boxer, and he did his job. Now let's go on to Benavidez versus Vosdick. I got this one wrong. And Vosdick, in my opinion, was very disappointing. Benavidez looked great. Benavidez probably could have pitched a shutout if he didn't gas out. He was winning every round, and Vosdick wasn't doing anything, right? Now, I see a lot of people saying that Vosdick went in there to lay down, and I disagree. I'm going to attribute Vosdick's low activity for two things. One, I think that part of his strategy was to tire out Benavidez. And I also think that Benavidez' hand speed played a role in Vosdick not being able to let his hands go. I think he had to shell up because Benavidez was landing pretty much at will. The body, to the head, it was just, too much for Vosdick, too much volume. It didn't seem like it hurt him too much. He wasn't, about to go out at any point. He didn't get dropped, but still the volume was a problem. The damage was being done. I think it was one of those things where Vosdick had to be careful, and Benavidez, he dominated those rounds. And then towards the end of the fight, Vosdick started teeing off on Benavidez, but didn't really do much. He obviously landed some damage. You can tell by Benavidez' face after the fight, but I don't think that Vosdick really did any of that in the beginning of the fight. I think it started after the sixth round when he started actually, maybe throwing a couple power punches in there that were actually going to land. Most of the time, Vosdick was inactive. Benavidez, his defense looked a little bit better, but he tired himself out. It's kind of strange that the guy that was landing the consistent body shots is the one that got tired. That's how that strategy shouldn't be working that way, and I think part of that had to do with Benavidez throwing unnecessary punches. Those little flurries that he does that his fans love, they're useless, especially against Vosdick. It did absolutely nothing except tire Benavidez out. So I think Benavidez should have chosen his shots a little bit better. I think showing out like that, doing those little flurries, that was just depleting his gas tank, and it showed at the end of the round, at the end of the fight. towards the championship rounds. Now, Gervonta Davis versus Frank Martin. Oh yeah. Let me go back because I know Benavidez fans are gonna go wild. Look, I give him credit. I give him credit for beating Vosdick. Absolutely. I got that one wrong. I thought Vosdick was going to do better. He didn't. Regardless of how Vosdick performed, Benavidez did amazing. He did land some great shots. There's just some minor things that I think that I noticed. He gassed out. We all saw it. He got tagged up towards the end. We saw that too. The evidence is in his face. You can't say nothing happened in there. And then and that's pretty much it. I mean, it's a good win. It's definitely a good win. What's going to happen? All I got to say is I see the connection between Canelo postponing the IBF purse bid to Tuesday. So I'm anticipating and I'm hopeful that we might get the Benavidez fight. That's what I'm hoping. Now, who knows? Maybe it won't happen, but the stars are aligning, right? All the media could do is ask about Canelo. That's it. If it almost felt like this was a Canelo undercard, as much as they were talking about Canelo, and I think this is all lining up perfectly. Canelo's going to drop the IBF title. Maybe schedule a fight with Benavidez. That would be great. Now, Gervonta Davis versus Frank Martin was a crazy event. The event as a whole. There's so many people watching. This whole discussion on whether Tank Davis is the face of boxing or not. I don't know if he is the face of boxing, but he's up there. He's definitely up there as far as, the newer, younger crowd. And I see why. I mean, Gervonta Davis to me is one of the more exciting fighters that is around right now. Absolutely. I mean, at one point, I thought that someone like Deontay Wilder was the most exciting fighter. And unfortunately he's gone downhill, but Gervonta Davis has maintained a pace that is crazy. I just want to see him more active, and I want to see him fight some top names. I want him to become undisputed. You know what I mean? I would love to be able to say, hey, Gervonta Davis is going to defend his undisputed titles, and that would be great. Though Frank Martin looked good in the beginning. He looked good in the beginning. I'm telling you guys, I expected what happened to happen. That's why I said that he was going to look good in the beginning. I didn't like that he walked in looking so drained. And it showed by the 6th round. He started to slow down. Gervonta Davis was picking him apart, landing big shots and actually hurting him. And that's when it all came together in the 8th round. Gervonta Davis just started bullying him. Figured out that there's nothing Martin can do. He used the early rounds to tire him out. That pressure fighting without actually throwing punches is an art form. It's an art form, and there's only certain fighters that are able to do that. If the fighter in front of you doesn't respect you, you can't really do that. But if he does, then you could apply pressure and not even throw a single punch, and that's what Davis was doing in a lot of the rounds. And these are the rounds where Martin was depleting his gas tank by throwing punches Davis was expecting, and it was all part of Davis's game plan. I think he had a great game plan. He succeeded with that, and then also got the knockout. I mean, perfect knockout too. This is a highlight reel type of knockout. So I had fun for the entire event. I thought it was good. There were some fights in there that were kind of, boring. They were boring. We can admit it, right? Not every fight is a fun fight. But the card itself, I thought it was a decent card. And the main event stole the show. I want to see Frank Martin again. I don't think this is something that, is going to destroy his career. But Frank Martin, I think, should move up to 140. I don't think that he should be making 135 anymore. And I think he'll be a lot stronger and more successful in that division. Gervonta Davis, I would love to see him against Lomachenko. Lomachenko is not getting any younger, and I would love to see him against Lomachenko, but I think Davis beats him all. And I'm not a huge, this is not coming from like some fanboy shit. I'm just analyzing what I think is happening in the division. I don't think Shakur Stevenson is ready to fight Davis. Not under the strokes. I mean, maybe sparring, but under the lights in a 12-round fight, I don't believe that that right now is the time for Shakur Stevenson to take that fight. He needs to build up to it. Tank Davis is just way too dangerous. Way too dangerous. Way too much power. But hey, you guys let me know. Tell me what you think. This is Aztec 101 in the ring, and I'm out.